Today, I am going to tell you the 3 things that I would do if my West End, National Theatre, BBC and Netflix spanning career dried up, disappeared tomorrow, and I had to start again from scratch. I'm so glad you're here. This is the Empowered Actors Podcast. I am your host, Adele James, and this is how you build a successful acting career that lasts decades. Not just until you book your next job. Welcome. Oh my gosh. I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to the Empowered Actors Podcast, formerly known as Making My Way, formerly known as In the Room with Adele James. This is the rebrand of all rebrands. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you. Gosh, what a long way we have come. As I said previously, this podcast has existed in 2 other names, but we are back as the Empowered Actors Podcast, and this is a space where I want you to know we are going to talk real honestly, right? We're going to talk really honestly about the industry, about what it means to have resilience, about how to deal with rejection, about all the things, networking and agents, and what success even really means. Like, have you actually thought about what success really means to you, right? And also how to keep going in a way that's sustainable. Because I think the industry for so many people, for so many actors, feels really lonely, really isolating, so difficult, impossible. Like, there is gate and wall and door after gate and wall of door, and like it's just so hard to get a straight answer out of anyone or anything about how to move forward. Well, no more, because we found each other now. We have found each other now. So when I first started podcasting all the way back in December of 2021, if you go back to episode 1 of what is now the Empowered Actors Podcast, you will see I did a whole episode on how I got to where I was December 2021. At that point, I was just coming off the back of being on air for my biggest TV show to date. That was Casualty. I'd been on Casualty for a year. I'd been on air for a year at the point where I came off, and I had been out of acting work at that point for about 6 months because I'd finished in June, July of 2021. That's when I stopped recording, even though I was still on air. And I'm not gonna lie, I was struggling. I was processing. I was having a really interesting time because I suppose I had been given these expectations, and I felt I had an expectation of myself, perhaps partly borrowed, partly self-inflicted, that it should be much easier for me to find work now that I had, quote unquote, made it. And, I didn't work for like the best part of 6 months. And then I started this podcast, and I was kind of taking you through my like weekly, daily musings, the strategies, the tools, the techniques, the ways that I was thinking about building my career at that point of relative success. Because it felt like, at least at that time, I was still in a position where, while I wasn't, world famous, I was definitely at a point that a lot of people were trying to get to. And since then, many more wonderful things have happened. I actually ended up accidentally documenting the process of getting what is then became my biggest TV job to date, which was Queen Cleopatra, which is still streaming on Netflix. Go watch it. It's great. I'm really proud of that work. And since then, I've worked for the National Theatre, which was my childhood dream. And I've also worked on the West End, which was another big dream of mine. The next one to tick off the bucket list is Broadway. I'm holding out for Broadway. But yeah, so many things have happened since then. And I was podcasting and documenting my journey for about a year and a half. And then I kind of fell out of love with it and became more focused on the client-facing coaching work that I was doing. So the Empowered Actors ecosystem includes private coaching, which I've been doing since July of 2021, so around that time that I left Casualty, or at least around the time that I stopped filming Casualty. And it's been a real journey. It's been a real journey, and it became less important for me, I think, to document my journey as it was for me to really dig in with the actors that I was working with And I'm grateful to say that, in the last kind of 5 years, but really in the last 3 years, especially, clients of mine, actors that have come to work with me, have gone on to do the most incredible things. They have worked for HBO, they have worked for the BBC themselves, they've worked for Netflix themselves, they have worked for Paramount Plus, they've worked for MGM Plus, they've worked for the National Theatre, the RSC, CBS, ABC, all of the acronyms. They've worked for everybody. And it's so exciting, because I say this all the time, but we all have different dreams. We all have different ideas of what we're trying to work towards. And so to be able to help people realize what their dreams are, which are different to mine, has been such a blessing, such an incredible honor. And the reason I wanted to bring the podcast back in a slightly different format was because I've learned so much over the last few years of not being in the podcasting world. I've learned so much from working with my actors. I've learned so much from going on to do the National Theatre and the West End and all these beautiful things that I've had the experience of doing, leading TV shows. I've learned so much, and I want to distill it down for you into a digestible format that's free. So that's what this is. That's what the Empowered Actors podcast is. My mission across the entire ecosystem of empowered actors is to try and make this easier for you, to try and give you some of the answers that you seek, to try and help you to find your way forward with less pain. I can't guarantee there will be no pain, but I can do my best to reduce it, to make it easier for you, and to make it so much less lonely, because it just doesn't have to be lonely. Both things can be true, that this industry can be incredibly lonely, incredibly isolating, incredibly difficult, and it can also be true that it can be the complete opposite of that. And I want to give you a flavor of the opposite. I want to help you move in the direction of the opposite, because believe you me, I've done the other one. I've done the hustle, the hard, it's not working for me, it will never work for me, it's too hard, etc., etc. And it's not that you can't have success that way, it's that you can't embrace it. So I want to help you not only get to the successes that you are going to have and that you want to have, but to do it in a way that means that when you do get there, that you can really embrace it, that you can enjoy it, that you don't push it away because you think you're an imposter or a fraud or whatever the mean things are that we say to ourselves. And we all do it, right? Hands up, I do it too. But it's something we have to actively work on. And I think part of my life's work and my career's work is to help you to work on that, to give you the answers, the tools, the strategies, the advice, the support that I once needed and that I now know to give. I've got the time, the capacity, and the space to give it. So here it is. Let's get into it. So what you can expect from me on a weekly basis is, for season 1, we're going to have chats about resilience. We're going to have chats about rejection. We're going to have chats about networking and agents and what success even really means and how to build a career in a way that's sustainable, which means that you can do it for decades, that we're not just pushing to the next milestone, because that's all very well and good, but what happens when you get there and it doesn't solve all of the problems that you thought it would solve, or it doesn't turn you into the exact person you believed you would become when X happens? We need to work on all of that stuff long before the success arrives. So as I said before, you can really embrace it, you can really hold it, you can enjoy it. Because also, and this is really important to me, we're talking about your career 100%, 1000%, but we're also talking about your life. This is about your quality of life. You're a human being before you're anything else. But how you treat your career, how you treat yourself, it impacts your relationships, it impacts where you live in the world, how you live in the world, what you're able to do and show up, what you're able to give, what you're able to receive. All of these things, they are meshed together. They are all one and the same. And so we can't really treat one without the other. And so today, what I really want to talk to you about is, if I had to start again, if everything I've built up in the last 15 years suddenly disappeared tomorrow, what the hell would I do? And there are 3 things really that I want to talk to you about today. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hi, my love. Super quick cutaway. I just wanted to remind you, in case you haven't already, to please hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcast, just because 1, I don't want you to miss a beat, and 2, it really helps us to get further reach so that more actors know that there is help out there, so that I can help support more actors. I would be so grateful for your help on this mission. And if you feel so inclined, why not give us a cheeky rating too? We'd love 5 stars, but whatever you feel is right is good too. Mwah! Thank you so much. Shall we get back into the episode?
Let's go.
Okay, so number one, if my career disappeared tomorrow, no more BBC, no more Netflix lead role, no more West End credits, no more National Theatre being plastered all over the tube. If all of that disappeared tomorrow, as if it never happened, but I still had all the knowledge that I have today and all the experience of having done it, even though no one knew that it happened, the first thing that I would do is I would get so clear on my vision. Now, people really struggle with this, I think, for a few reasons, but one of the big reasons is that they don't think it's their right to dream. They don't think it's their right to have a vision. They're like, I don't know if I should be this specific, or if I should be vague, or if I should be realistic. Let's just take a pause for a second. I believe that you did not become an actor because you want to be realistic. I think if you were going to be realistic, you would have gone into maybe accountancy, maybe something to do with numbers. Maybe you would have gone into real estate or something. You would have maybe become a teacher or any number of stable, quote unquote, stable jobs. Nothing about the industry, about art, about being an actor has anything to do with being realistic. It is probably the most unrealistic thing you could choose to do in the best way. Why? Because we are constantly innovating. We are always creating that which has never, ever, 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 ever existed before. And that is such a thrill. It's such a thrill. Your whole job centers on being a creative, a creator. And that, I think, means we can just totally wipe out this idea that anybody ever needed you to be realistic. That can go in the bin immediately. So that's one thing. But I think it's really important that you have a vision, because if you do not know what you want, then you are taking steps forward directionless, aimlessly. Now, there's a concept around kind of holding on loosely to what you want, which we will absolutely get to in future episodes. In the first instance, if you don't know what you're holding on to in the first place, that means you're holding on to nothing. And I think we have to train ourselves out of the idea that it's not safe to dream. That it's not safe to dream, that it's not going to happen if we are bold enough, if we dare to think about what we want and to go for it. I would actually impress upon you that every visionary, every successful person you have ever seen, ever in the history of humanity, has been that way because they thought something hard enough, long enough times on repeat to be able to manifest that, also through action, through conversation, through meeting people, through doing things, right? But it was all because they had an idea of what they wanted, whether people told them it was stupid, unrealistic, not going to happen, whatever, or whether they had limiting beliefs of their own about it, they still had some kind of vision and they beelined towards that. Again, I think there is room within this to be flexible with yourself, your vision is allowed to change. But in the first instance, I just want you to think about what you want. I just want you to dream. You are dreamers. We are dreamers. The point of this all is to use your imagination for your good. You're allowed to have good things in your life. Your life matters. Your dreams matter. The people that you're meant to represent, they also matter. So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for them. If service is what moves you, and I totally appreciate that because it's what moves me, definitely, then do it for someone else. But do it. Do it, do it, do it. Get clear on your vision. So all the times when I've not been clear on my vision, I found myself being a bit of a yes girl. Being a bit oh, well, I don't think I want to do this, but I'll just do it because. Or being pushed into things that I never, ever, ever wanted to do. And I knew I didn't want to do them because I was afraid to say no, because I needed to be validated externally. This is a big one for you. Please stop seeking validation from outside of yourself. This is a huge thing that I think people do just in general. It's a human thing, but the actors really do frequently. And I've worked with a lot of actors over the last 5 years, both on jobs and also in a coaching capacity. A lot of people are seeking validation outside of themselves, which is one of the things that makes career building so hard. Because if you're not working, you're not auditioning, or you're auditioning and you're not getting jobs or whatever it might be, or you get a job and it's not what you thought it was going to be, you start to tell stories about what that means about you. And it doesn't mean anything about you, because you have always been and always will be worthy. It's got nothing to do with any job, nothing to do with any agent, nothing to do with any casting director, nothing to do with any press interview, nothing to do with fans or anyone else. You just are worthy because you are. Period. Done. The end. That's the end of that conversation. I'm tough loving you a little bit there, but that's the end of that conversation. So get clear on what you want. What do you want? And it's funny, I was actually having a conversation with a client about this recently. If you can't think in specifics, if you can't visualize, if you can't do it a certain way that you think is the right way to do it, that's fine. Do it in the way that works for you. If the thing that motivates you is, I want to make work that feels like this, that feels expansive, that feels abundant, that feels creative, that feels warm, that feels like a hug, that feels like it's impacting the world, then cool, that's clear. I think that's really clear. Does it have to be, I want to work on a HBO series as the lead role, or I want to work in a period drama on the National Theatre stage or on the West End? No, it can be whatever it is for you. Your desires are safe guidance. Your desires were given to you the way that they were given to you because that's how you were meant to interpret them. That's how you are meant to be guided in your life. And by the way, if I ever say anything that feels like, I get that, but I think of it more like this, great, cool. You're autonomous. This is your life, that you interpret the world the way that it makes sense for you. So please just take what I say with a pinch of salt, take things in the way that they make sense for you. But I think the underlying message and the core guidance is that your desires, the way they are given to you, the way they are expressed through you, for you, to you, are safe guidance. So trust yourself. Trust yourself. And yeah, that's really number one. Just have a vision, contact it, connect with it, face it, and face the other stuff that comes up because of it, but face it. Because when you know what you want, when you can be brave and honest about what you want, you have direction. Direction begets momentum. Momentum begets results. If you're moving towards nothing, you're moving towards nothing. If you're moving towards something, that has power. It really does. Number two, to immediately treat my career like a business. You are the business owner of your career. You are also the business. You are the, for want of a better word, product, brand, right? And you operate within a bigger business, which is the entertainment industry at large. So you're always navigating these three levels. But most people are treating their careers and themselves by proxy as a commodity, so something to be sold by someone else, something to be positioned by someone else, something to be defined, validated, etc. by someone else. That might be by an agent or a casting director or your mum or your friend or what that actor is doing. In any case, treating your career like a business means stopping the outsourcing of your power, of your autonomy, of your decision, of your choice, of your vision, of your mission, of all the things that encompass you building your career on purpose, intentionally, the way that you want to. It means you stop outsourcing that to everybody else. Do what you want to do. Do it the way you want to do it, with the people that you want to do it with. Take control. Take responsibility, take accountability. It is your job to be visible, to talk to the humans, to make work that positions you accurately, right? And I'm not talking about necessarily making fully funded short films or feature films or putting on shows all over London or wherever you live. I'm talking about making sure you have a portfolio of work that actually reflects the talent that you have and the things that you can do and the skills that you have, and not waiting for someone else to tell you what you'd be good at and what you'd be good for, and to give you a chance to do something until you feel that you can really say that you can do that thing. This is how you create opportunities for yourself. This is how you build out a career on purpose. This is how you build out opportunities and you collapse the time that it takes for you to get to do certain things. If you wait forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever for people to discover you, you will just be waiting. That day may never come. I mean, we're long past the days where people get scouted in the street and where your agent is everything and your agent is king. Those things can happen. Your agent is an important relationship, and we'll absolutely talk about this in a big way. But ultimately, I think the person who should fight the hardest for your career is and always will be you. It's your career. That means you get to be the kind of last authority, the final authority on who your business partner is, how you network, how much you network, the energy with which you commit to your auditions and your self-tapes, the quality of those. That's all down to you, my love. That's all down to you. And one of the biggest things that I think about, especially as somebody who has now built a successful business over the last 5 years outside of my acting career, right? So my acting career is a successful business in and of itself, but I also have a business. So a business that most people would say, yeah, that's a business, which is the Empowered Actors ecosystem, of which this is a part of it. Now that I've built a business over many years, I really see how many parallels there are to building an acting career that so many people are sleeping on. For example, on the visibility piece, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast unless I told you that it existed. And I probably have had to tell you a few times. I probably have had to be like, hey, there's this podcast, I'm doing this podcast, did you hear about the podcast, right? I've told you multiple times. And yet most people won't even email a casting director or a director or an agent once. Or they will do it once and once only. And then they will be like, why does nobody want to see me? Why does nobody want to hear from me? Why does nobody think that I'm good enough? Why am I never going to make it? And they start telling all these stories about how, excuse my French, but shit they are, which is just absolutely inaccurate. Apart from anything else, right? And I can see it so clearly from like a business point of view when it comes to coaching. Like, how would I ever find clients if I didn't tell people that I'm a coach? If I didn't tell people that my doors are open, that I have capacity to take on new people? How would you ever have found this podcast if I didn't tell you that it existed? If it just sat online, maybe a couple of people would find it, but it's so unlikely. And my mission as a business owner, as a coach, is to help as many people as possible. That means that I need to tell the humans that I exist. My mission as an actress is to impact people globally through my work, through doing important work that I really care about, telling great stories, doing really great expert professional craftsmanship as it pertains to the acting itself. How can I do that if I don't put the reps in? If I don't tell people that I'm available for work? If I don't tell people what my skills are? If I don't show them what I can do? Whether that's a self-tape or a short film or whatever, like it doesn't matter. How will anyone know I exist if I don't tell them? How will anyone know that you exist if you just don't tell them? I actually think there were times in my career when I did just think like, well, I'm talented, so why hasn't anybody given me more of a chance? Why hasn't anybody just swooped me up and put me in the things? And I actually look back on those days and I think, gosh, how arrogant of me to think that all I needed was talent, to think that all I needed was to want it. That's not enough. Wanting begets more wanting. It creates a sense of lack because actually wanting makes you focus on what you do not have. Whereas when you become, when you do, when you act, when you take action, when you do things, when you tell people that you exist and all of those beautiful things, you move the needle forward. You collapse the time between where you are today and where you want to be, which is booked, busy, working, paid for your acting, represented by the best human for you, all of that beautiful stuff. But it doesn't come from treating yourself and treating the business of your acting career like someone else's responsibility, either to discover you or to do it on your behalf in the case of an agent or whatever it might be, right? It's your responsibility. So if I was to start my acting career again, I would take so much more responsibility from the jump. I would take so much more responsibility. I would be so much more accountable for my own success than I think I really was being, because I think actually for a lot of my early career, I was quite wounded. I was very much in like victim mentality around what I got to have or didn't get to have, as the case may be, and how unfair it all felt and how hard it all felt and all the things. I was just really in a place where I wasn't really being honest about what I needed to do internally and also externally to manifest the things, the career, the successes that I really, really said that I wanted. So that would be number 2. But number three has become really the core of everything I coach. It's become the core of how I treat every single job, how I treat the in-between jobs, periods in between jobs as well. And that is that I would protect my well-being so much better. Like my life and my career depended on it, because you know what? They really do. They really do. I know it sounds corny. I know it maybe sounds like whatever, like, but they do. Your well-being is everything. Here's what I need you to understand. You are your greatest asset. If you are both the career and the owner, the CEO of the career, then you, my love, are the greatest asset. And you need to start treating yourself as such. You need to treat yourself with the utmost respect, with the utmost dignity, with the utmost care, like you are a rare and precious gem. It is so, so, so imperative that your well-being is number one. In fact, I would have put it as number one, except for the fact that I wanted you to keep listening. I figured you'd probably keep listening if I said the other two things first. So, I mean, really for me, this is the most important thing. You can't do the vision stuff if you're not looking after yourself, because you can't think clearly. You can't treat your business like a business. You can't treat your career like a business if you're not looking after yourself, because you don't have the capacity. You don't have the energy. You don't have the wherewithal. You don't have the drive. It's burnout and depression and all of those things, right? If you're not looking after yourself. And that we must avoid at all costs, because you are a rare and precious gem. You are your greatest asset. This is like high-level athlete thinking. High-level athlete thinking. You have got to be able to show up and do an intense level of work, whether that's on set or on stage, in a rehearsal room, whatever. You have to be able to show up and do intense bursts of work, which are both physically and emotionally demanding, but you also need to be able to sustain all of those periods where you're not working, right? In my own career, that looks like I've had 2 10-month gaps with absolutely no acting jobs whatsoever. I've had several gaps in my career where I haven't had a lot of auditions. I've also had several gaps where I've had loads of auditions and I wasn't booking them. All of these things take their own kind of toll. I don't think any one is easier or harder than the other. They all have their own challenges, including working. They all have their own challenges. Alas, the one thing that needs to be kind of consistent within all of that is that you are okay. Better than okay, that you are healthy and content and at peace, because no good comes from giving from an empty cup. No good really comes from giving from burnout town. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And you know what? I know I don't have to tell you this because I know you've been there before. I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I remember it all too well, working 4 jobs over one summer, or, you know, sprinting from this thing to that thing, or flinging so much shite at the wall just to see what sticks and not really doing anything with intention or purpose. It just doesn't work. Not drinking enough water, not eating properly, not sleeping properly. I used to say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. What a horrible thing to say about yourself and to yourself. I'll sleep when I'm dead? Like, I don't deserve a good night's rest? And also, like, how can I ever expect to do my best work? I could not have done Queen Cleopatra. I could not have done Casualty. I could not have done the West End. I really couldn't have done the West End or the National Theatre. Theatre's so much more physically enduring than film and TV in its own kind. I mean, they're longer days, film and TV generally, but theatre, I think it's the adrenaline of it, apart from anything else. And actually, the job that I did last summer, for example, the comedy about spies with Mischief, was so physically demanding in and of itself, me running around in heels for 2.5 hours. These things, they take so much of you. And if you're not sleeping properly, what happens? You just get injured. You just actually end up not being able to fulfill the job, and someone else has to come in and take your place, who was looking after themselves, who was ready to pick up that call when it came and to do the work. So I don't know. I guess it's all of our choice how we choose to look after ourselves. But I would say that the benefits of looking after yourself are many. Many, 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 many. So just something for you to think about. So those are the 3 main things that I would do if my West End credits, my Netflix credits, my TV credits, if all of these things just disappeared, dried up, never happened, and I had to start again, those are the 3 things I'd really focus on the most. Those are the needle movers, in my opinion, the kind of foundation of it all, right? So before anything else. They're obviously not the only things that you can do, and we are going to get into all of the things in season 1. I'm going to give you your full foundation in season 1. I'm really excited. But for episode 1, I just want to give you something tangible to go away and do. So here is your action plan. I want you to observe where you have been leaking. So where you have been leaking power, responsibility, autonomy, accountability, any of the things or whatever it is that's come up for you having listened through this episode, write it out, speak it out, get it out so that it cannot hold that power over you anymore. Acknowledge it, because awareness truly is the first step. And then I want you to make a decision. And the decision is that between now and next week, when you have the next episode, that you are going to take one action that would move you one step in the direction of resolving this. So we're not going to overhaul your life or your career and try and fix everything, but you're going to take one action in the direction of resolving that leak, of plugging that gap, that hole, so that that power, that responsibility, that accountability, that autonomy, whatever it is that you feel you're leaking, so that that is reduced. And then we're going to reduce it a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, but we're going to build your capacity up just bit by bit by bit by bit. And this is how you're going to start. Some examples, this might look like just setting a boundary that you need to set, maybe with someone else or maybe with yourself. This might be getting something out on tape, right? Just recording something that you feel is a better reflection of where your talent is right now. This might look like having a conversation with your agent, or finally sitting down to write the email for seeking new representation if that's where you're at. It could look like many things. It might be writing an email to a casting director or a director, somebody that you already know, just to reconnect with them. Or it might be that you write to someone you want to know that you've been hiding from. It's okay. We all do it, but now's the time to choose to do differently. Okay, so just choose one action, and I just want you to take action on that in the next 7 days. Put it in your diary, write it out, make sure you've got it committed, set reminders, do what you need to do, but show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. Show up for your career like it deserves it, because it does. It does, it does, it does, it does, it does. And that's it. That's episode 1. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me with the Empowered Actors podcast. I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be doing this thing with you, and I can't wait for you to get into everything that we've got coming up for the rest of this season. Make sure you are following, make sure you are subscribing, make sure you're doing all the things so that you are updated when new episodes drop. I don't want you to miss a beat. As I said, I'm going to give you all of the things that you need to really build up the career of your dreams over decades, not just until you book your next job. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, I have got something super special for you. It is called the Outtakes. What is the Outtakes? The Outtakes is a sneak peek, behind the scenes look at my in real time journey of building my own acting career. It's a little bit more in the style of how this podcast used to be, where you would kind of follow me around in real time and you would hear the strategies, the techniques, the tools, the lessons that I'm learning and that I would like to share with you so that you can learn from them too in real time. So those are extra episodes only available via a private membership outside of this public podcast. So you will get weekly drops from me, audio drops from me, and you will also get drops from me in between seasons of this public podcast as well. This is the place to go if you want to coach in your pocket every week, if you want to learn from what I'm actually going through in real time right now as we move along. That's anecdotes and lessons from past jobs that I've already booked and lessons maybe that I'm even relearning. And it's also me taking you in the room with me for all the jobs that I've got coming up. And I've got some very exciting jobs coming up that I cannot wait to share with you. So the Outtakes, if you would like to go deeper with me beyond this public podcast, beyond the Empowered Actors podcast, the Outtakes is available for you as a membership. It's just £39 a month, and you can sign up in the links below this video, below this audio. You can sign up via the link down there. I can't wait to have you inside that private membership and to, give you a little bit more insight, a little bit more coaching, a little bit more strategy, and I can't wait to give you more to help make this less lonely, to help make this easier for you, to help expedite your journey to whatever your version of success truly is. In the meantime, I will see you here again very shortly for another episode of the Empowered Actors podcast, and I am absolutely 100% now and always rooting for you. Mwah! Thank you so much.